Hi, I'm Dan with FreshPoint, and I wanted to talk to you about the basics of tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the most popular produce items on the menu. Are they a fruit or are they a vegetable? Botanically, they're a fruit. The Supreme Court said they're a vegetable. The USDA specifies two different grading systems. One is for field-grown tomatoes, one is for hothouse-grown tomatoes. So what's the difference? Well, field-grown tomatoes are grown outdoors in a traditional agricultural setting. Farmers and pickers and maintenance crews walking up and down the rows maintaining the vines. Where hothouse tomatoes are grown in large buildings, sometimes hoop houses, sometimes glass enclosed. More controlled environment, more consistent harvest cycles, little quicker, but the input costs are a little more. There are two different grade standards. For hothouse tomatoes, there's only a number 1 and number 2 grade. For field grown, there's number 1, there's combination, there's number 2, and US number 3. So how do you know which one to use? Well, you need to decide how you're going to use the tomato. If you're looking for a uniform slice to go on top of a sandwich or as a featured part of your dish, you probably want to go with a number 1. It's a more consistent size, more consistent color. If you're processing it down into salsa or tomato sauce or ketchup, exterior appearance really doesn't matter as long as the quality of the fruit is good. So save some money and look at a number 2 or number 3 pack. Typically they're called field-run tomatoes or even culls. Some people call them salsa tomatoes. You'll save a little money and you'll get the same quality. Roma tomatoes are graded the same as round tomatoes, but they're used a little different. It's a better cooking tomato. While you can certainly use them raw, sliced, or diced, they really shine in a cooking application. The walls of the tomatoes are a bit thicker, and they hold up a little better in the process. You can even use green tomatoes. You can use them raw. They're a little more acidic and have some tartness to them. Typically they're fried, especially in the South, but you can also pickle them and use them as a unique side dish. Tomatoes are graded on a scale similar to bananas, with green being number 1, and then all the way up to number 6, which is a full red tomato. So when you get your tomato, what are you looking for? Well, you want uniform size and shape in the case. More importantly, you want uniform color. You want to make sure there are no growth cracks on the surface. That would indicate heavy rains are a little too hot and the tomatoes have grown a little too fast. And you want them free from decay. Tomatoes are very susceptible to bruising, so let's keep handling to a minimum. Don't stack boxes on top if at all possible, and by all means, don't drop the box of tomatoes. Hothouse tomatoes often come on the vine. These are cherry tomatoes on the vine. And while it certainly looks great, it actually has a practical function. The calyx keeps the tomatoes from drying out as fast, so it extends the shelf life. You can also get round tomatoes on the vine. Tomatoes also come in different shades of color. I have yellow grape tomatoes and red grape tomatoes. Typically, yellow tomatoes are sweeter and less acidic, where red tomatoes have that traditional, rich, robust flavor we're looking for. So we've talked about a lot of things, but how are tomatoes sized and how do you decide which one is best for you? The old way of sizing tomatoes was the number of rows in a 20-pound box by the number of columns. So we have a 5x6 tomato here. We have its larger cousin, the 3x4. The larger tomatoes typically carry a premium because there's fewer of them. So how are they different in size? Well, it could be a different variety, could have been grown in a different microclimate, could have been grown a week or two apart, and this one's just allowed to stay on the vine a little longer. You still want to look for the same thing. That tight, blemish-free skin and no cracking makes for the best tomato you'll have. I'm Dan with FreshPoint, and that was the basics of tomatoes.